man is an island, except when they're in the bath. And no one is an island during the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. What does that have to do with NXT this week? Nothing, to be honest with you, because by now you've spotted the cat having a little sleep behind me. And I could say any old garbage. You're just looking at the cat. Aren't we, buddy? Hi. Are we just looking at the cat? Yeah, we are. This is NXT Graded. That's also Pablo. But this is NXT Graded. The first of two men's Dusty Cup semi-finals starts us off. MSK taking on Legado del Fantasma. Early start and an early lead for MSK. Busting out a Bronco Buster. Nice work by Carter. Giving some nods to Sean Waltman there. Legado take control during the break, but after the break, we see MSK busting out that shoving shooting star press. The one where Wes Lee pushes Carter, except they do it off the apron. It looks stunning. Wes follows up with a swanton dive of his own. Legado take the lead after this. We see a great spot, actually, with Mendoza, fireman's carrying Carter, and Whacking Wild does a jump off the top rope, bounces off of the back of Carter, and 450s onto Wes Lee. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Chef's kisses all round. So good stuff from Legado del Fantasma. Carter manages to save Lee from the Russian leg sweep combo that they do as a finish. And moments later, they succumb to the heart attack blockbuster. And MSK pin 1, 2, 3. And they're in the finals of the Dusty Cup. Our MSK. Great result for them. B+ on this match. A short, fun, explosive encounter. Finish seemed very out of nowhere, though. Wasn't much build to the big finish, and then it happened. But great result for MSK. What a way to bring yourself into NXT. Get into the finals of the Dusty Cup. We get a video package highlighting Mercedes Martinez. She is in a triple threat on Sunday for the Women's Championship. She says Toni Storm, her other opponent, is a girl. And Io Shirai's expiration date as champion is up on Sunday. We'll dip into more of the combatants in this match throughout the episode this week. Xia Li up next. She's taking on Cora Jade. As Xia Li gets into the ring, here's Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro trying to talk some sense into their former friend Xia Li. But she's distracted, and it leads to Cora Jade getting a cheeky side swipe on Xia Li. No effect at all. Xia Li batters her, throws her into the ropes, and she lands throat first onto the middle rope. And then Xia Li lands a roundhouse kick for the 1, 2, 3. Quick, simple, effective. Lee puts the boots in afterwards. Carter and Catanzaro try and stop her. We see Kane Carter get in the face of Tian Sha on the top of the ramp. And Xia Li's not having this. She throws Caden Carter off the ramp for that. Tian Sha then raises her hand and grabs Boa by the throat, which I believe is ancient Chinese for, please can you beat up Casey Catanzaro? So Xia Li does. Puts the boots into Casey and then kneels before her leader. Cool little bit. B- here. Some good character stuff here. The match was nothing. The match was a part of an angle more than anything else. And we're seeing Xia Li's first feud post-transformation. I believe Xia Li will become the NXT Women's Champion by the end of the year. I'm putting that out there. William Regal walks into his office and there's Scarlett sat on his desk. Turns out she wants a match between Killer Cross and Santos Escobar signed for next week. And Regal's like, yeah, all right, sounds good. And that's happening next week. We'll touch more on that a little bit later on. Here come The Way. Johnny Gargano is in a wheelchair following the attack from Kushida last week. He's helped very carefully into the ring. And he looks like he's having a terrible day with it. They replay the footage from last week, and he reveals that the attack from Kushida broke his left arm. He's a lefty. And he's a keen power walker. And he hates wheels. So all of this is a nightmare. He insists that the match be cancelled and Kushida be suspended. So he can't face Kushida this Sunday at Vengeance Day. William Regal comes out and says, mate, our doctors cleared you to wrestle. You're fine. Gargano's like, no, I'm not. Look, there's my x-ray. Big x-ray goes up on the Tron of a very broken right arm. And which Regal says, mate, that's a right arm, not a left arm. Regal gives Gargano two options. He can either have Austin Theory stand in for him and have Theory and Kushida, their match tonight, be for the North American title, or Johnny Gargano can forfeit the North American title right now. Regal says he'll have to speak to Kushida first about what happens next. And it's at that point we realise that Kushida has snuck into the ring and is stood behind the way. There's a great little comedy bit where Austin Theory is chatting to him, does a double take and realises who he was talking to. Say what, like, Theory's timing, comedy-wise, is very good since he's joined the way. He then gets buffed to the ground by Kushida. Kushida goes to grab the North American Championship from Johnny Gargano. Gargano holds it in his hands and then pulls it away, holds it in his apparently broken hand, his broken arm rather, which reveals his arm's not broken at all. And Kushida knocks him flying over his wheelchair. There you go. And from there, we have Candice LeRae jump into the ring. She wants a piece of Kushida, but Indi's holding her back. And then from the top comes their opponents for their match right now, the semi-final of the Women's Dusty Cup. Here comes Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. And that match begins immediately from there. Shotzi gets a shoeing for a large part of this match. Gets isolated from her corner for a good long while. Going into the break, Candice hits a gorgeous sort of top rope, tightrope walk, Hurricane Rana onto Ember Moon on the apron, sends her flying into Shotzi Blackheart. That was really, 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 really nice. Ember gets a beating for a while, manages to make the hot tag to Shotzi, and from here Shotzi and Ember land some really crisp 1-2 combos. No complicated double team moves, but more so like a feature move from Ember followed up with a feature move from Shotzi in a way that keeps it all flowing. It's really, really nice. We see Candice and Indi do something similar, hitting a wicked stepsister, followed by an elbow drop from Indi for a near fall. Candice and Ember end up scrapping outside the ring. Whilst this is happening, Shotzi and Indi Hartwell are legal in the ring. Candice gets back into the ring, only to absorb a big kick from Shotzi, which sends her falling back into the Eclipse from Ember Moon, hits the ground. Shotzi goes up top for a cannonball. Indi Hartwell throws herself on top of Candice LeRae to try and save her. But Shotzi just jumps off the top rope anyway, lands on both of them. Indi Hartwell absorbs all the damage. Shotzi pins Indi, 1, 2, 3. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart are in the finals of the Women's Dusty Cup. They get into a heated argument at the top of the ramp between Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. As this segment ends, William Regal comes out and says, by the way, the winner of the Women's Dusty Cup will not only be recognised as the first Women's Dusty Cup winner, but will get a shot at the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And that is the match we've got set for Sunday. It's going to be Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. Good stuff. B+ here, really enjoyable match. One of my big complaints from last week was that all the Dusty Cup tag matches felt very, very similar. This one did not feel very, very similar. It was a different pace to it and different energy to it, and I enjoyed it very, very much. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher are backstage, and they're talking about their Dusty Cup semi-final against the Grizzled Young Veterans. The irony of facing the Grizzled Young Veterans as Toothless Timmy and Old Man Ciampa are going to whoop their asses, says Tommaso. That match is our main event later on tonight. We hear from Santos Escobar following the announcement of, following the push for Karrion Kross and Santos to face each other next week. Before he can really talk about it, Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza burst into the locker room, deeply apologetic for scuppering their chances of winning the Dusty Cup earlier. Santos says, you can make it up to me by paying someone a visit, and says he doesn't make it to next week. I think we all know who he's talking about, and we'll get to that in a little bit. We get a nice video here hyping Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. They're going to seal the show on Sunday. I think if they let them truly go, we're going to have ourselves a heck of a match on Sunday between those two. Really, really are. Like, I feel like this is one in the making for a long, long time as well. I'm excited for it. Kushida faces Austin Theory next. No entrances. They're already in the ring and they're already scrapping each other. Gargano distracts Kushida that puts Theory in control. We see Kushida snatch it back and laser focus on that arm of Theory for a good long while. He goes for a springboard into the ring, but Theory knocks him off the ropes and sends him flying to the outside. At least that's what I think was meant to happen here. Basically, as Kushida went through the motions of tripping, but Theory was like a beat too late. So it was meant to be Theory shakes the ropes and knocks him down. It just looked like Kushida lost his grip, which is a bit of a shame because they were like a beat off from getting that right. Theory's back in charge after this little flub. Kushida pushes back, hits a beautiful springboard back elbow. The end of this match comes with Theory dodging an apron dive, And this leads to Theory getting Kushida up for a powerbomb outside the ring. But Kushida turns it into an armbar. He's got his arm stretched out on the apron. Johnny Gargano's there with a super kick to the face of Kushida. This match is thrown out. They put a beating on Kushida. And Gargano says, I'm going to go get a chair. And as he wanders off, Theory gets dragged under the ring by an unknown entity. Gargano gets back just in time to pull out what he believes to be his buddy, only to realise it's Dexter Lumis. Gargano scampers up the top of the ramp at the sight of Lumis. Theory gets out of under the ring, sees Lumis, dives into the ring to escape, gets put in the hoverboard. Here's Gargano to make the save. Here's Lumis to get amongst it as well. All of this carnage ends with Gargano locked in the hoverboard and Theory locked in the silence. And then Kushida at the end of that holding up the North American Championship. This match was another fun match, like between Theory and Kushida. They've got a nice bit of chemistry here, and it sets us up really nice for what's going to go down on Sunday. Expect Dexter Lumis to be floating around the ringside area during that match on Sunday. Toni Storm video next. She stakes her claim for the NXT Women's Championship. She says that Mercedes Martinez got in her way, and she says that she's beaten Io Shirai. This is the fact that she's beaten home for several weeks now in the Mae Young Classic. She reminds us that it's Toni time on Sunday. It's on Sunday, so I take it by my watch. It's about quarter to Toni right now. I think that's what it is. We then get a lovely video package for Imperium. We've done a couple of these over the last couple of weeks, haven't we? Just reminding us of who each of all the members are and all their attributes. And then they end on the cry of "The mat is sacred." We're getting ready for an Imperium return to the American NXT, it does feel like. Backstage, Whacking Wild and Raul Mendoza are dead. They're beaten down. They're out cold. They're done. Karrion Kross grabs the camera and says next week he will do to Santos Escobar what he's done to these two. Oh, nice stuff. Now, it's been mentioned a few times that, and I was mentioned on the Cultaholic podcast as well, like this feels like Karrion Kross in the Cruiserweight division, and it's certainly not. This is a chance for Santos Escobar to hang with the heavyweights. This is an opportunity to push Santos Escobar into that position where he's feuding with some top guys. Karrion Kross is a top guy in NXT, so why don't we give Santos a run with him? Boosts the credibility for Santos, Legado del Fantasma as an entity, and the Cruiserweight Championship, potentially, to be in there in that sort of radius of Karrion Kross. So I think they'll have some fun next week. I do think they will. I do think they will. We then hear the sound of an obnoxiously loud Lamborghini pulling up. And driving the Lamborghini is Cameron Grimes. He's back, baby. He's got a lovely suit jacket on, and he's handing out $100 bills to everybody that he sees. He gets into the ring, says people that he'll give them money if they give him a round of applause. It's just cool. So, turns out during Cameron Grimes' downtime, he discovered video games. And when he went to go buy more video games, he went to a place called GameStop. And he loved it so much, he bought shares. And now he's a millionaire. Also, he really loves dogs. So he saw something called Dogcoin and invested in that. And he's a millionaire again. He says that if Regal wants him to face Dexter Lumis or zombies in an NXT ring, he can kiss my grits. Then throws a bunch of dollar bills on the floor and starts making snow angels in it. This was beautiful. B+ this was for Cameron Grimes. I love the evolution of this character. I really do. It's got a nice modern twist to it as well. Nice to see him back. I want to see him build like a country bumpkin $1 million corporation. That's what I want to see. I think there's some fun to be had with this new version of Cameron Grimes. I really do. We get a video for Io Shirai. She says her title reign will never, ever, ever, ever end. And at this point, until she runs into Xia Li, I actually believed it. Main event, and it is the last semi-final in the Dusty Cup. It is Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher against the grizzled young veterans. Zach Gibson running down Ciampa and Thatcher at the start of the match. Saying, hey, Ciampa, what happened to your last tag team partner? They end up brawling outside the ring to get this one started. And they're doing all right, actually. An angry striking affair between all four leads to the GYV taking the lead. They beat Thatcher up in the ring, and they powerbomb Ciampa on the hardest part of the apron. Ciampa is out of this for a while. He's being checked by medical staff. He is out of this for a good portion of this match as Thatcher's fighting on his own. A few times, Thatcher manages to get a break, but there's no one there to make a hot tag. Eventually, Thatcher's able to avoid a doomsday device and make that hot tag to a recovered Ciampa, and Ciampa runs wild until Gibson lands a brainbuster and they hit a doomsday device on him. So he's recovering from that. He's in a bad way after that one. Thatcher attempts the same strategy as last week. He ends up fighting with James Drake outside the ring. He gets dumped over the barricade, does Thatcher. Drake gets back into the ring. Ciampa catches him in a Willow's Bell, but Gibson's done his own work. He sees this coming, pulls James Drake off the apron to save him. They end up cheap shot in Ciampa, and he gets the ticket to mayhem. You see Thatcher try and get back into the ring to save him. Drake cuts him off. 1, 2, 3. The grizzled young veterans are in the finals of the Dusty Cup. Really fun match. A B+. Not the greatest ever, but really, really, really good. Nice callback to last week with the finish as well. And then the last thing we have tonight is a rundown of the card for NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. And this is quite different because instead of just being match graphics, we get the match graphics on the Tron, then we pan down to see the participants in real life, like jaw-jacking with each other with a referee between them. So like like Gargano and Kushida are out there with a ref between them, and then you've got all three in the triple threat match, the Dusty Cup finals, and then for the final bit, for the main event, there's a spotlight on the ring, and Finn Balor and Pete Dunne walk into the spotlight and do their signature poses as the show goes off the air. There's been quite a lot of discussion on this morning online. Some people think it was great, some people think it was awful. It was a bit cringe. I'll tell you what it was like. It was like having a cat behind you during a graded video, in the sense that it doesn't lend anything to the overall presentation, but it's quite a nice aesthetic, you know? That's kind of what this was like. I applaud them for trying it. I do. I'm a big fan of, in any medium, not just wrestling, but in any medium, I'm a big fan of trying different things and trying different approaches and attempts, because that's how we progress as brands and as media people. That's how we get better. We try things and we see if it works, and if it doesn't, then we don't do it again. And if it does, then happy days. I applaud them for trying it. I like what they were going for. I don't think we should do that again. It just felt a bit staged, which yeah, it is, but it felt too staged. So, but I applaud them for doing it. Yeah. And overall, this won't surprise you. It's a nice sturdy B for NXT this week. There was some good stuff in here. There were some improvements on the Dusty Cup action from last week. And you know what? It gets us set and gets us in the mood for this Sunday. NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. There'll be live reactions plus what happened at and NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day graded on the Cultaholic YouTube channel on Monday. Watch out for tomorrow, where all our predictions for the show will be live on the channel as well. Who do I think's winning? I'm going to tell you in the video tomorrow. I won't tell you now. Be the point doing a video tomorrow. Find out over then. All right, find out then. All right, stay safe. Love you, bye. Pablo, do you want to say love you, bye? Oh, sorry, did I wake you up? All right, well, Pablo says love you, bye. Or he says give me dreamies. Probably the latter.